Hey guys, it's Cali. Today I'm going to show you how I made these natural clay essential oil diffuser charms and turned them into mobiles for the window or car charms and even jewelry. If this looks like something you're interested in seeing how I did it, I would love it if you stick around and I'll be happy to show you. See you in just a minute. Okay guys, let's talk about supplies. I'll show you what I used today. First, I used my original Sculpey. This is an earth-based clay. This is not polymer clay, and that's important in today's project, that you can use an air dry clay, a wet set clay. Just make sure it is not polymer clay. So this is original Sculpey in terracotta. Then we're going to need some kind of a surface. You need a non-stick surface. I don't have a craft mat, so I work on wax paper. And I just take a sheet, and this is to roll things out on. So some type of a surface. Something else you're going to need to work on. I sometimes work on a piece of glass. This is from a picture frame, and I just put masking tape around the edges. You can also bake on this. I also like to work on a tile sometimes. These also can go right in the oven. And I also have a dedicated baking pan that I use just for my polymer clay stuff. So I know some people use acrylic foam and things like that too. I'm not that professional yet. So something to bake on and something to work on. The next thing you need, you're going to need something to roll out your clay. Now I have a pasta machine. I don't use it in this project because I want something a little thicker. So you're going to need some type of an acrylic roller. If you don't have an acrylic roller, use the side of a bottle. Use, some type of a non-stick surface. You don't have to get fancy with your tools at all. Use what you have laying around the house, but these do come in handy and they're fairly cheap if you want to get one. So something to roll out our clay. And then you're also going to need some tools for the clay, and we're going to make some beads as well. I have a variety of cutters that I used. These are just simple metal cutters. This is also from a Play-Doh kit. You can use, I have some texture sheets here that I'm going to use as well. If you don't have any of those, you can use stamps. You could use buttons. You can imprint jewelry if you want for designs. So things to make marks and texture in your clay. Use your imagination. And I also have a couple fancy tools, including this toothpick. I do have a needle tool that's helpful in making beads, as well as this hand drill here, which you can use after beads bake to kind of drill them out. But we're going to keep it really simple here today. So have some of those tools. And also when we're going to be stringing our charms, you're going to want some type of wire tools if you're working with wire, and jump rings. So round nose pliers, flat nose pliers, and a pair of needle snips. Also, if you choose to, you can use acrylic paint, but just know that if you're painting on your charms, that those charms can't be used with essential oil. So I am going to use some black acrylic paint just to bring out some detail, but that's up to you. And same thing, if you choose to use glaze on your charms when they're done, just know that those charms can't be used with the oil. So, and I also, if you want to use Bacon Bond, we are to, help adhere charms into the clay, but it's not necessary. When I put the charms in the clay, they tend to stick. Speaking of charms, I'm going to use a variety of different charms, including some jewelry pieces. I just have things in a stash, some wings, some moons, use your imagination. So charms of your choice. We're going to need some, when we string up our charms, I have a variety of jute twine, beading elastic. You can use fishing line, monofilament. I have some suede lace. I have some beading elastic, and this is my favorite. This is hemp cord. It's very thin. It's easy to work with. You don't need a needle. But it's up to you, whatever you choose. You can use dental floss, you can use embroidery floss, you know, use what you have. Speaking of needles, if you do need one, it's nice to have a big fat needle or a skinny beading needle. So some type of a needle if that's what the route you're going to go. We're also going to use some various jump rings, as well as these kind of old-fashioned key fob hooks. You don't have to use these. You can use the hook of your choice. You can tie a knot. You don't need any, you know, whatever closure you choose to use. I'm not a fancy, I'm not a professional bead maker or jewelry maker, so I just kind of go with what I got. Also, in addition to the charms, we're going to need some beads, and we're going to make our own beads. And I'm also going to use some of these boho string beads that I made, and I'll put a link to the video. We're going to incorporate some of these too, because these will absorb the oil as well as the clay beads, but that's optional. So just, you know, beads of your choice. I haven't even decided yet, but I have a variety and I'll use what I have. And that is going to be it, with the exception of the final step and the most fun part, I think. I'm making these in the fall right now, so I have fall scents on the brain. But if you choose to use the diffuser part of the charm, you're going to need some type of essential oil. And I'm going to use a blend of cinnamon, sweet orange, patchouli, of course, and a little bit of frankincense. You can use whatever your favorite oils are. Again, let your imagination be your guide. You can, you know, these will eventually fade, the smells will fade, and you'll need to refresh them. You could do a variety. Hang one in your car, hang them around your house, whatever you want. Lavender in the bedroom, you get the idea. So, but this is what I've chosen, and I'll be back, and we'll get to making some charms. See you in a minute. All right, so let's get started. I've preheated my oven to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. My clay directions say to bake for 30 minutes per 1/4 inch of clay. So we're going to bake these for about 30 minutes. I've taken a piece of my clay and I've conditioned it, which just means I've kneaded it until it's soft. If it's too warm and soft, you can pop it in the freezer to firm it up, but this is perfect. And I'm just going to roll this out. If you choose to use a pasta machine, you can. I like the organic feel. Each one of these are a little bit different, but do what you want. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways that I've done these. Try not to get any air bubbles in. All right. So, for example, I like to use texture plates. I have a couple of these. You can use stamps if you'd like. I'm choosing to use this one. This is a Lisa Pavelka, and this is a random Celtic knot stamp that I got on Amazon. And I'm just going to take my clay and place it on top. This is because I want it textured on both sides of the ornament. If you only want one side, you don't have to do this. And then I'm going to put this on top of that. And then we're just going to lightly roll it. Now, if you're worried about stickage, you can lightly spray your plate with some water so you don't have a problem, but I've been having good luck. I'm going to just lightly roll over the back of this. Try not to move it too much. Try not to smash your clay. They take the textures very well. We'll lightly peel it off. And then you'll see on the bottom, and these are really great, you have this cool texture here. Now you can achieve the same effect if you want. You know, I have this random stamp here, and same thing. I'm just going to lightly spritz it with some water. You don't have to. And we'll just imprint it right in the clay. You could use, I've had good luck with, for instance, a feather charm. You could press that into the clay. okay? You could use buttons, anything you want, you guys. I mean, just, you could make a million of these. So here's, for example, so the imprinting is now done. If you choose to do the other side, these are a little tougher with the stamps because to line them up, but do what you want. And then the next step, I'm just going to take a cookie cutter. Now, I have random circles here, random shapes. I've used my grandkids' Play-Doh cutters. Anything you want, any shape you want. I'm going to randomly go in. I'm not going to line anything up at all. And we're just going to cut out and push out some shapes. Okay? They're textured on both sides. All these ridges will hold the essential oil and disperse them. It's great. All right? If we want to get that moon in there, grab him too. Okay? Now, you're going to want some kind of a hole in these, okay, to hang. And I've done different examples. I've done holes just on the top with one hole, like this moony guy, and I'm just taking a needle tool. You can use a toothpick. You could use an awl. You know, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do holes. This guy, we'll give him a hole on the top and a hole on the bottom. If you want to string more than one charm or one clay piece. Okay, you have options here. This is not that serious. And then it's up to you if you want to leave them plain or not. Or you could embed a charm in them. And for instance, I had this fairy charm and it had the little, like here's a moon, this little hanging piece here. I just took my wire snips and snipped it off. And then you have a charm without a, hanger there. You can embed them. I've done them, this is the way I normally do it, just straight into the clay. All right, and I don't have any problem with these falling out. If you're worried about it falling out, you can go ahead and use some of this Sculpey Bacon Bond, and it's basically a glue for polymer clay, even though this isn't polymer clay, but it will adhere the charm into the clay, and you just put it on the back of the ornament or whatever you're embedding and attach it that way. But I'm not going to do that. I also have, here's a little fairy. Okay, if you want to, for instance, let's just randomly cut a heart here. Or where's my circle? You can also put the charm with the hanging thing in it directly in the clay this way, and then make your hole. I hope you're seeing this okay. Make your hole through the hole that's already there, and that kind of reinforces it. And then you go through the back, obviously. Okay? If you're worried about these holes here, you could also reinforce these and just lay a jump ring right in them. I'll show you. I haven't had bad luck with these, so I haven't done that, but just so you know that you can. You could take a small jump ring and embed it in the clay itself. Okay, and then you can kind of push it in and hide it. Just mush the other clay around it. And that will also reinforce your hole there, because sometimes they do get fragile in baking, especially if you're making your hole very close to an edge, to make it easier to string afterwards. So, okay, that's a bunch of options for you. Now, what I also like to do is to texturize the sides. I like, as much texture as possible. All these little nooks and crannies are going to hold our oils. So there's a few things I like to do that are really simple. One of them is to just go around and just poke holes random holes all the way around. Poke, 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 poke for this dotted kind of a pattern. All right? No big deal. You just go all the way around. Another thing I like to do is to take an edge, and these needle tools are very handy. Just kind of lay it down and go around, and as I'm holding the charm, and you don't want to hold it too tight, you don't want to mush the design, okay? But I just kind of go around and make marks like this, and then maybe go back the other side and make a mark like that. To me, it kind of looks like tree bark. Looks like you cut a piece of wood. And also, these ridges will hold the oil. So you have some options, okay? So then you're going to take these and you're going to put them in your pan, and you're going to bake them at 275 for 30 minutes, okay? And through the magic of technology and foresight, I have some already prepared to show you. Oh, you know what I didn't show you? I didn't show you how to do a bead. All right, let's take our leftover clay or whatever you want to do. And you could choose to do these or not, but these beads you can also use to hold the essential oil. So you can, if you want to make them uniform, you can kind of roll out a snake, just like you did in 3rd grade, and cut off small pieces that are kind of the same size if you want to get that precise. So basically, take a small piece of clay, whatever size bead you choose to make, okay? I'll go a little bigger just for demonstration purposes here. And just roll it around. You can roll it like this, all right? Whatever shape you want. If you want to make a small round bead, make a round bead. And I like to roll them on the texture sheets. So that gets rid of your fingerprints, and it puts those amazing ridges into the bead that, once again, are going to hold the oil. When you are done making your bead, whatever size you want, go back in with that needle tool or toothpick and push through, and you'll see it kind of distorts the bead. That's okay. Go back through, go through the other side, kind of widen it. And then to bake these, and I'll show you, I just took a piece of wire, and here's some that are already done. Actually, I'll show you this whole plate now. Voila! It's 30 minutes later, and everything has come out of the oven. I just string these beads on the wire and hang them across the edge of the pan that I'm baking on here. And this is what you get, and they don't stick, okay? So this is what came out of the oven, guys. And this is what we're going to be working with. I did all different examples. I did some crescent moons and some hearts. Here's an ohm. I did a feather by imprinting the feather that we had, the charm, and I just kind of accented it. Done a star. Some with charms. Some with charms with the holes like I showed you before. There's a few with 2 holes. I did mini leaves just to play. Okay, I have a whole variety here, guys. Here's one with a leaf. They were a lot of fun. For the crescent moons, all I did was I cut out a big circle and then I did a little circle. Some more charms. Random. Okay. So then the next step, we're going to, you have a choice here. All right. If you want to, you can choose to accent some of these pieces. And by doing that, I used a little of this Americana black satin acrylic paint. And all I did was water it down, and I brushed it on some. And I'll show you as an example this moon here. All right. I brushed on the paint, and then I wiped it off. And it got stuck in the crevices. Here's another example. Here's another example. Okay? And it stays in the edges. So you just brush on the paint and wipe it off. I used a paper towel. I'm going to choose to leave a lot of these not that way, but I also did some of the beads that way too. I just think, and I haven't experimented, but I really think that the essential oils will degrade the acrylic paint. So that's why you want to kind of stay away from that. But you can do a mixture, a combination of some that you've accented with the paint or some that you haven't. So the next part is the stringing. So I'll come back here and I'll show you. Give me a minute. I'll show you how we're going to string up some of these, all right? And you know what? I'll show you how to do some paint. Instead of me just talking about it, let me show you. So I took some of this paint. This is, you know, Americana black tie, which is actually kind of gray. It's not really black. Put it in an old palette dish, and I added some water to it. And we're just going to take, I have a few of these that we'll do. And it looks scary, but just cover the whole entire thing. And then we're going to wipe it off. You can use a baby wipe, you can use a rag. I just have a paper towel here that I've dampened a little. All right. And just press gently. You want to leave a lot behind, not a lot behind, but you see how that just totally transforms it? So I'll do some of these as accent pieces, and like I said, we won't put the oil, we won't put the oils on these. All right. You can go over it a couple times if it's not good enough. I'll do a couple of these. There's an ohm sign. Let's see if we can bring out that symbol. Just really poke it down in the nooks and crannies. Just adds a lot to it. So I'm going to do a mixture of these with the plain ones. Oh, that came out good too. Yeah. It's really a good technique. Just ages it. If you like that kind of grungy look. If you don't like it, don't do it. Let's try the last one. Let's try the feather here. And then I'll assemble what we need to get stringing. And I'll show you a couple examples. And then I'll finish up off camera. But I'm curious to see what you guys come up with too. All right, let's see. Okay. Ah, yeah, that's just gorgeous. Hello. Good idea with the feather. All right. Isn't that great? Okay, you guys, so I'm going to finish up. I'll do a few more of these with the paint, let them dry, and I'll come back and we'll get stringing. See you in a few minutes. Okay, guys, now comes the fun part, and I'm just showing you a couple examples here. Let your imagination be your guide. Do whatever you want. These are so fun. I'm going to show you these, and then I'm going to do more off camera, and then I'll show you what I got. So just here's an example of something I did with the hemp twine. Okay, and I literally just cut a piece of hemp twine and put it through the charm. It's stiff enough that you don't need any kind of needle or anything. And then I just strung beads on it, okay? You can do, you know, you could tie a knot first if you want. Please look up some bead making tutorials. I am not a, you know, fancy kind of bead girl, but this hemp twine works really well. You know, and just keep going. And when you get to the top, all I did was use one of those key fobs and I just tied a good knot around it. I did a combination of the painted ones and these jute twine beads. Again, I'll put a link below because I'm going to use these for the oil. All right. If you choose to, you can also use, in my crescent moon video, I showed you these swivel hooks. If you want to use something like this instead, I got these in the fishing department. If you'd rather use these, allow it to float, you know, kind of hang freely. But I like these because you can attach these around your car rear view mirror. This just opens, put this around the thing, and then close it like this, and then it will hang. But you can do whatever you want. Tie a knot if you want. All right? So that's an example of one. Here's an example of a really simple necklace. I did the charm, accented it with the paint. I hung a beautiful charm on it. I used some suede twine that I had, one of our homemade beads, and I'll be putting the oil on this bead. All I did was tie a knot at the top. I like them very simple, very, you know, boho-ish, but you can make these as, you know, you could bling them up if you want. Here's an example that I used jump rings for, and I just took a jump ring. Again, I'm no expert here, but use your pliers, dropping things here, you know, attach them, and then you can use another jump ring. Okay, I took a piece of very cheap, I got this wire at the dollar store, wire, and I'll just show you super simple how my bead making friends are probably shuddering here. Just take one of these and I just make a little loop around, okay, and then kind of just wrap it. Please forgive my technique. So then we have a little hole that you can hang your jump ring from, and then string the beads of your choice. For instance, make sure that the, actually, you know what, let me not use that. Make sure that your bead hole isn't bigger than the hole on the end here. So there's a spider charm, and you could do other beads, and same thing on the other side. I just hold it, pull it down, and then back up and around. All right, and then you can hang your jump rings from the hole you made here. All right, so that's what this is. It's just a long wire with beads strung on it. And again, at the top, all I did was tie it on here. So these are just some ideas for you guys. Again, use what you have in your stash. These are a lot of fun. And then I'm going to show you quickly now how we are going to anoint our charms. Very simply, okay? With something like this, I'm going to use a dropper. And I just have a few of these, okay? Be careful that, you know, especially cinnamon oil is very irritating to the mucous membrane, so keep your fingers away from your eyes and delicate areas after you're using essential oils. Do your research. Try not to have anything directly on your skin that you're not familiar with. A lot of these can be used diluted as well with carrier oil like olive oil or grapeseed oil. Anyway, do your research if you want, but I'm taking a few drops of the oil and I'm applying, this is an untreated charm. I'm applying it directly on the charm and I'm going to just rub it in. Okay, and this will absorb into all the nooks and crannies. We'll do the other side, and I am going to use my fingers because I'm familiar with these, but so I just treat them. If you want to use a little, you know, dropper, use your dropper, or also, here's some sweet orange oil. I'm using a lot, you guys. You don't need to use this much, but you can apply, these have a little dropper top, and you can apply just a drop or two directly to the bead. And same thing, just use your finger, okay? Let these dry a little bit before you're wearing them next to your clothing or anything, but they smell amazing, and you can use the oils of your choice. Like I said, when the scent starts to run out, refresh them. I'm going to hang one in my car. I'm going to put one in my living room. They'll be hanging all over. I'm sure they'll be in my windows. Give these a try, you guys. Let me know what you think. I'll see you back here when I have a few more strung up, and show me what you got. See you in a few minutes. Before I go, I forgot to mention the reason that I like to use these jute twine beads. And basically, you guys, this is just a plastic straw with jute twine glued around the straw, is because they absorb the oil as well. So if you don't want to use one of your treated charms, this one here, for instance, I'm going to apply the oil directly to the jute twine bead, and they're wonderful. They absorb it right away. I had no idea when I made them that they would be able to do that, but obviously, so just like a sponge, they take it up. So check out that video if I haven't said that enough already. And very cool. All right, now I'll see you back when those are done. Okay, guys, this is what I came up with, and honestly, I had to stop myself because I could have kept going all night here. But I just wanted to give you some really good examples, and I'll try to get some shots of these hanging up. You already saw this necklace one. I just kept it really simple with a charm and a tie neck. Here's the crescent moon, and I've anointed all of these. It smells amazing in here. This one, I used one of the polymer feathers, a metal feather charm, and then some chicken feathers from my mom's chickens. Random beads. Has more of a Native American feel. And this one I put that swivel hook that I was talking about. Here's the crescent moon, and I think that came out really good. And I added some of the oil beads and some random beads I've had laying around for years. And this has that standard closure I was showing you before. These I think will be really good, like I said, to go around your rear view mirror in the car. And then here is the star. And I did a double one here, and I left this one, this has the black paint obviously, and I left this charm, so I anointed this one, and this was an old piece of jewelry, and then some wooden beads, some glass beads, just various charms, and that key fob closure. I really like this one a lot. I like them all. And then last but not least, have another one with some feathers, just kind of hanging off the back. And this was one of the first ones I showed you. And I did an experiment. I put the oil over the painted one, and it still looks wet to me. I'll let you guys know if that degrades it or how that works out, but I wanted to try it. And that's that. So I'm going to get some shots of these hanging in the window at least. I don't know if I'm going to go out to my car. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you do. Just click that little red button underneath the video. And I make videos very frequently. If you make these, give me a shout out. I would love it. Let me know what you did. And I look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon. Have fun. Peace and love. And here they are hanging in my doorway. And I just wanted to show you this one hanging in my car from my rear view mirror. And now it smells like patchouli and frankincense in here. It smells amazing. Let me know how you like these, you guys.